Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Star Notes. I'm your host, Ryan, and today we are going to be talking about Invincible Season 3. So we have a bit of a stack cast today, and we're going to get ready to talk about all things Invincible. So generally, what are your thoughts on Invincible Season 3?
I'll go first, I guess. Season 3, best season so far, had so much to offer. So many questions that was left unanswered. Season 2 came to fruition. Episode 7 and 8, by far my favorite episodes of the series so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it was a great season. I agree, probably the best one as well. And I think just like, obviously, as the series progresses, these stakes just keep getting higher and higher. So it's really interesting to see that, like, all the characters kind of evolve. Like, especially Mark, we finally got to, like, see him not hold back. So that sets it up even better for season 4 to be like, oh, now it's getting serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with these two. I mean, this is by far the best season that Invincible has made to date. I mean, you had great plot development, great character development, as, Brynn touched on Mark. We really see him come into his own as the superhero he's been trying to be for so long, since this series even started. And then, obviously, Cleo touched on this episode 7 and 8, easily the best episodes of the series. And then that finale we just saw like about a week ago.
Yeah.
I'd argue that is one of the best episodes in animated television history.
Yeah. It was a hard watch just because it's so emotionally like taxing and gory. I did cry several times. But yeah, so yeah, it's a hard watch, but it was so good. And like, again, every moment was just so intense and just on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, I mean, I've read a bit of the comics, like after I watched the first 2 seasons, I knew Conquest was going to come up.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know this is going to be a bloody fight, but the episode really just perfected just how violent that battle was going to be. I mean, to the very itty-gritty detail. You hear the stretching, you hear the blood, you hear everything.
One thing I liked is that they added some more stuff that was not inside the comics, like the little monologue that Conquest had about him being so lonely. And that little heart-shaped thing.
Just like blew the heart bubble and then just molded into a heart.
Yeah. That was absolutely insane.
All right.
And I was gonna say I have seen like the TV show creators say that like going forward, they're writing like a new script and new content. Like it's not gonna be the same as the comic books, because that's why like people have been like, oh, it's gonna happen, but you could just read the comics and see what's gonna happen. But apparently for season 4. They're planning on, like, straying from that path even more.
Really?
All right. So I guess moving on, do we want to just give a general rundown of what happened in the season, what made it so memorable, right?
Yeah.
And then as we get into, like, the big sort of moments, can we just, like, highlight that and just be like, why this is important for future seasons? Real quick?
Yeah.
I gotta see, we gotta drag where we started with.
Yeah.
Because this plot has kind of bounced around a little bit, but they floated very well, so... Episode 1, I'm trying to think.
Season 3?
I mean, I feel like just it's important to like where season 2 leaves us, where Mark's father, Omni-Man, there was a big fight at the end of season 1 where Omni-Man reveals that he wasn't actually there to protect Earth, but to conquer it. And so Mark kind of revolts against that. And Omni-Man's called, they're Viltrumites, which is a race from the planet Viltrum. So then Omni-Man leaves at the end of season 1, and so Mark is now having to prepare to fight Viltrumites, who are very strong. He is a Viltrumite, and he is strong, and he's been coming more into his power, but like he's pretty much one of the only people that can stand up against a Viltrumite because they're just so strong. But in season 2, he ends up finding his father after his father left, and his father has a new wife and new child named Oliver. They're Thraxans, right?
Yeah.
So that's why Mark's little brother Oliver is purple, because he's an alien. But we see at the end of season 2, Oliver's mother is dead. Omni-Man has been taken prisoner he's in a Viltrumite prison. And then Oliver goes and lives with Mark and Mark's mom, Debbie, on Earth. So I feel like that's a big part of, like, season 3 is Oliver coming into his own as a character, and, like, they're trying to raise him and, like, teach him how to be a good human because he's not human.
Yeah.
So he's like aging differently and has like different values in them because of that. And also like they don't want him to obviously follow the same path that his father Omni-Man did. So I feel like Oliver's like coming into his own is a huge part of the season.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I know the season kicks off. I mean, we see Mark's been training intensely with, was it the GDA?
GDA.
GDA, yeah.
And so basically, because back in season 2, there was a Viltrumite named Anissa, I think, or Alyssa. Anissa.
Yeah.
But basically, she comes to kind of, you know, kick Mark and shape him. By kick Mark and shape, I mean kick him around the planet and destroy a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Basically saying, you know, you need to get your act together. You need to, you know, execute your given mission and conquer Earth. And so now the GTA is trying, you know, prepare Mark for if Anissa or another even more powerful Viltrumite comes to wreak more havoc.
Yeah.
And then we also see a new villain who is also Duplicate's brother, Multipole.
Oh, yeah.
And I know what they have to fight to. They're trying to stop the Constitution from getting stolen by these time travelers too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a bit of a weird start to the season that we did get there, and that little side story does lead into its own episode later on where Mark has to go back into go back to the future. I guess is weird.
Yeah.
I'd say my favorite side plot was Alan and Mark's father, Omni-Man, in prison, in the Viltrumite prison. Basically, Alan basically trying to get Omni-Man's confidence back up to fight back against the Viltrumite Empire. And so,
because Alan is a very strong alien who would have the power to face up against Viltrumites and is trying to get a group big enough together to defeat the Viltrumites like once and for all, which we also learn in season 3 that there are now only 50 living Viltrumites. So that mission of defeating the Viltrumite Empire is a lot more attainable than they originally thought. So Alan wants Omni-Man to help fight the Viltrumites, but Omni-Man is just like has given up. But we do see him kind of Omni-Man like reach into his humanity a little while he's in prison, and then he ends up forming a friendship with Alan and they escape. But I will say I thought we would see more of them this season. I was a little disappointed in that. Like we got maybe like a handful of
they
scenes.
really only came in like the end of the episode. You know?
Yeah.
It's like half of the episode where it was like Mark and Eve started their romance. Is when you got the second half was just dedicated to that storyline.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I feel like a big, as well as like the Oliver thing, like the huge like overarching kind of like theme or change of the season is just like kind of the value of life, because Omni-Man was saying in season 1, human lives don't matter. And Mark is saying, no, I like love humans, the people of Earth. I think they do matter. In season 2, we see him almost, wasn't it in season 2 when he killed, air quotes, Angstrom Levy?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was finale.
And Mark, this villain Angstrom Levy, who has the power to like teleport between dimensions, he kills him, and that is something that is really, really weighing on him throughout season 3, and so he doesn't feel as though he should take a life, and because of that, Angstrom Levy comes back and ends up causing what's called the Invincible War.
Yeah.
So he did. Yeah, turns out he didn't die, and he comes back as an even worse villain, which is not great, and causes thousands of more lives.
He grabbed multiple different versions of Mark from different dimensions, and that's basically what the plot with the Invincible War was. It was Angstrom Levy trying to get revenge, get back on Mark for almost beating him half to death.
Well, he also wants to tarnish Mark's reputation, because the thing about these Marks he's grabbing from these other dimensions is that they're evil versions.
Yeah.
These are ones that either allied with Omni-Man or somehow killed Omni-Man, or basically have just embraced the sinister side of the Viltrumite personality. And so now I think he grabbed 18 of these Viltrumite, these Mark variants, and basically is just trying to destroy the reputation that Mark has built as one of Earth's most powerful superheroes.
Yeah.
Because now all people see on the news is, these Marks are destroying prisons, they're destroying cities, they're killing innocent civilians.
Yeah.
And so I'd say, Angstrom mostly succeeded at that mission to an extent. I mean, they caused so much damage, and then obviously a lot of those Marks are still at play, because I know at the end of episode 7, which was basically the Invincible War, was they sent like 8 of them to the same dimension where
Yeah.
where the original Mark and Angstrom fought, and Angstrom was supposedly killed, and now they're trapped there because there's no way out.
Yeah, and I think it adds the fact that they are alternate versions of Mark and that Angstrom specifically sent them to get revenge on Mark adds like a whole layer of guilt to what Mark is feeling, because now it's like all of these people are dead because of me. Same thing with the Conquest fight. If Mark didn't win the fight, Conquest would have killed a whole lot more people.
Yeah.
But Conquest even like, oh God, this part was horrible for Mark. He even like purposefully grabbed him and flew him through like hundreds of people, killing them just to be like, to exert that power, because he knows the effect that like a human life has on Mark. So yeah, Mark is blaming himself for those deaths.
Right.
He's blaming himself for all the deaths of the Invincible War. But actually at the end of season 3, which I feel like this is a moment that will really show itself in season 4,
Okay.
is Mark has been telling Oliver, you need to value human life, because Oliver thinks very black and white, and he's like, oh no, he's a bad guy. If I kill him, I'll save more people. And Mark is saying, no, we don't want to kill everyone ever. But at the very end of the episode, he flips around and he says, you're right, Oliver. Like, I should have, killed this person when I had the chance. And we should kill people if it will save lives. So it's like that. And I think that his fear to take a life is a big part of the reason why he was like holding back with his powers. So I feel like we're going to see a really like overpowered Mark in season 4, which I'm excited for.
We talked a lot about the guilt he's been dealing with, and we see that kind of personified in episode 6 with Powerplex.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because for those who don't remember the season 1 finale, when Omni-Man and Mark fought and saved Chicago and basically leveled the city and killed thousands of civilians, they actually have a flashback in episode 6 where there's a storyline of I forget Powerplex's real name, but basically his sister and his niece lived in Chicago and both were killed in that fight, and Mark actually tried to save those 2 specific people. But now all Powerplex sees is his sister's and niece are dead, and Invincible is the only one standing there. And so he's just on the warpath to try to get justice for them. And obviously it never happens because Mark's not really guilty. It's Omni-Man's fault.
Yeah.
But he doesn't see that. He has this obsession. His wife even gets in on this obsession. And then Powerplex is just like, I want Invincible. And then we see that title card gag spam we saw there. It's like, I want just over and over. But then Mark just has to deal with seeing that, because there's nothing he really can do, because Powerplex isn't using ration. He's just using pure rage to justify his actions. He's not going to hear reason. But then all Mark can think about is, if that fight hadn't happened, if I hadn't fought with my dad in Chicago, maybe they wouldn't be dead. Maybe this man wouldn't be facing what he's dealing with.
And it sucks because, like, it is inadvertently Mark's fault. But if Mark didn't resist against Omni-Man, they probably might have been dead anyway and would have been basically imprisoned from the Viltrumite Empire. But yeah, Powerplex gets so like blinded too by this hate for Invincible. And Invincible's already feeling the guilt for the death, like he is obviously sorry. But in this scheme to try to like trap and kill Invincible, it goes wrong, and Powerplex ends up killing his wife and child. So now he's even more, and he's like, it's your fault, you killed my wife and kid. And Mark's just like, no, I'm not, I'm trying to help. So I guess that really shows like, well, I would not want to live in this universe, but
Me neither.
It just sucks because also like, it does seem like so many things are going wrong. And I could totally see as a citizen being like, this is Mark's fault, because he is like the face, but is like, he genuinely is trying to do everything he can to save as many lives as possible.
And that's a really admirable thing. I guess that leads into my next point. I know we talked at length about the plot, but who do you think, what character had the best character development in this season?
Obviously, Rex.
Yeah.
Rex.
Oh my goodness.
Did he say why? Maybe.
So season 1 starts off with Rexplode, who he was originally on the teen team and dating Eve, who Eve is now dating Mark. But he was dating Eve, and then he was dating Duplicate, and did not treat either of them right. Was just kind of like a jerk of a character.
He cheated a lot.
He's a womanizer.
But In season 2, he almost gets killed fighting the Lizard League. Very near-death experience, and that kind of like turns him around. So now he's this caring person, and he's funny, and like he is genuinely treating people better and doing so much like for people. And so this character's finally liked, and they give him a romance, which was not in the comics, with Shrinking Ray.
Yeah.
Wasn't even supposed to live this long in the comics. She died fighting the Lizard League, I think, or it was a he in the comics. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were able to craft the storyline with these two characters into that romance.
Yeah. And I think I did end up liking their romance. I think also like where Shrinking Ray is at is, why do we have to fight and risk our lives every day? Like, I just want to be normal.
Yeah.
So it's hard because it feels like she's close to getting that normal, and then the Invincible war happens, and Rex is fighting one of the Mark variants and literally about to die. And his powers is like he can explode things.
Yeah.
So he ends up exploding his skeleton. So sacrificing himself to kill this Invincible variant. And so obviously he's successful and saves a bunch of lives because of that. But it was just such a sad death because you've just gotten attached to this character, and then also he sacrificed himself.
Yeah. He was such a good guy.
Yeah.
Also.
But one thing I didn't like is so there's a character named Robot.
Okay.
And Robot, like, didn't have a body. He was, like, a robot, and then he had, like, his consciousness was, like, this weird old shrivelly guy, like, in this tube.
Yeah.
But I think it was either in season 1 or 2, he ends up using Rexplode's DNA to create a person who's, like, probably around, like, 13 or something is the age of the body.
Yeah, it's season 1, by the way.
Yeah. And names himself Rudy. So he's like basically a carbon copy of Rex, but
so he can
named
be
Rudy.
with his girlfriend, Monster Girl. who's-
Yeah.
I can explain it. Her power, she has this curse on her where she can turn into a monster, but every time she uses it, she turns younger and younger. And right now she's in the body of like a, I don't know, little girl.
Like 12-year-old.
12-year-old.
That's right.
And so he basically kind of did that so he can get with Monster Girl.
Yeah, like he made his human body like the same age as her,
Mm-hmm.
but he did end up creating a device that she can wear while she transforms so that the reverse aging doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So now both of those characters will be normally aging together.
Oh.
But at Rex's funeral, Rudy announces, "Oh, in honor of Rex, I'm going to be changing my name to Rex." So now he's literally like, he has his DNA and has now changed his name to Rex.
He's basically Rex.
Yeah, it's like, it was supposed to be an homage, but it's just like, dude, no, you're like stealing his legacy. Like, I did not like
You're
that
stealing
at all.
Rex, basically.
And that also brings to the point back in the season 2 finale where Mark had to get rescued from the dimension he supposedly killed Angstrom in. You see the older version of the Guardians of the Globe come, and you see what we think is actually Rudy, but we think is Rex. But that's actually Rudy after he changed his name to Rex, I guess.
Yeah. But one thing that I've seen theorized that I really hope happens is in the Invincible season 2 promo photo, it's like set at a diner, and on the table on the left is a young Cecil and like a young Adam Eve talking. And after season 2, they released the Adam Eve special, which was like a longer episode that just had her like entire lore and like her growing up, how she became how she is. But on this season preview, the people sitting like at the diner looks like Rexplode and this one guy that worked for the GDA. So fans are theorizing that there may be a special episode like all about Rexplode, which makes sense because they just made all the fans care about him and then they killed him off. So I feel like they would grant us that more content.
I would love that.
They
But-
usually do that in
So,
other
yeah.
films, yeah.
So I really hope we get that.
All right.
Yeah, Rex was easily my favorite character. Obviously, the great comic relief, always the witty one. He was actually getting along better with Mark, too.
Yeah.
He had a great little combo going on there. So I'm really going to, miss his character.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on, we're kind of close to time. So I picked out one review that I want to go over, and I just want to get your reactions to it. It's kind of like a devil's advocate sort of review. I know you guys have been speaking very highly of it, so I thought it'd be pretty interesting to see like if this person's wrong or like where we can pinpoint it. So it reads, honestly, the season was pretty bad, but I loved the Aaron Paul episode. Right, but everything else felt off. Animation was horrible until the last 2 episodes, which is where they put the budget. I just really don't like it. A lot of plot holes make my blood boil, and that's what I'm going to read because he goes on and on. But what do you guys think about that? Do you agree? Like, is there some truth to that?
I can understand the bad animation.
Yes.
But other than that, I don't see it.
It's mostly wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good episode.
Mostly wrong, yeah.
With the animation, people were saying like throughout the whole season, this animation sucks, and it is not as good as the previous seasons.
Yeah.
And I feel like even some of the characters, like specifically like Mark, I feel like in certain scenes, like his face doesn't look like him. I don't know, he just looks different. So yeah, the animation wasn't great, and yeah, it was right. Like, but we get to the Conquest fight. Conquest Fight's animation was incredible. And like there's this one scene where Mark's like on the ground and he's like getting up and his hair is like blowing in the wind, and it's like I saw people saying like you can tell that the budget went to that. Like,
Yeah.
But if I've also seen people say this though, like what are the options? Have it release now with this budget and slightly crappier animation, or wait another year before the season had come out. And I would personally just rather have the crappy animation. Like, it wasn't as good, and it was all the more impressive in the last 2 episodes when it got really good, but I don't think it necessarily tarnished the viewing experience.
I think the plot line made up for it. Cause the person said the plot was garbage. What are you talking about? It was a very
What
good.
plot
He
holes
specifically-
is he referring to?
Yeah, he just said plot holes. I don't think he really went to depth. He just said lots of plot holes garbage. So,
The hole might be in his brain.
Yeah.
oh, all right.
He's actually Rex-Plode without the powers.
Oh, yeah.
Season 2 Rex explode after getting shot in the head.
Yeah.
My gosh. Okay, so kind of rounding out our thoughts here. Oh, do you guys have any idea what the Rotten Tomato score and the audience score is? Do you want to take a guess?
Above the 90. I know it was crazy high.
I would say 98%.
98?
98.
I'm going to
98?
say, like, 96 general, 98, like, fan.
10.
Well, I will say all of you are wrong. It's actually 100%
100%?
Rotten
Okay.
Tomatoes and 93% audience score. So kind of like, but 100% for 22 different critics is crazy.
It deserves
right.
it.
So yeah, do you guys think they deserve that? Do
I
you?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
Yeah, plot's good, cast good. It's been fun seeing like yeah, we got Aaron Paul as Powerplex, yeah. And he did a great job. And it's kind of fun because I feel like it's totally a stacked cast.
Yeah.
Like we have I'm literally forgetting everyone's name, but Stephen Yeun. Stephen Yeun is
Julian
Mark.
Jacobs is
Yes,
Eve.
Stephen
Yeah,
Yeun, very
and
talented
then-
actor. Love him.
Yeah, and then we also have
Jeffrey Dean Morgan Conquest.
Oh, yeah.
That was a killer.
I saw
Voice
people on Twitter
performance.
talking about how they didn't like his voice. They expect to be deeper, but he fit the
yeah.
role so good. It was
I think
perfect.
he did good, and his line delivers were really good as well. But I think it's also interesting, like, we have seen more Walking Dead people because the guy who wrote the Invincible comics also wrote the Walking Dead comics, which the series
really?
is based off of.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, like, I
Okay.
feel like that's why there's a little
So that's why
crossover.
Stephen Yeun's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you had Jeffrey Dean Morgan versus Stephen Yeun in the finale, because it's basically I forget the characters.
Glenn
they
and
were.
Negan.
Glenn
He was
and
a-
Negan.
Oh,
the bat.
Negan is Negan's voice actor, or
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't know that. That's interesting. Okay, so just any predictions for season 4? Do you want to see season 4? I mean, it's pretty
Well,
obvious, but
we got. I hope it's soon. But we did get a lot of set up at the end. We got
Martians.
the Martians. Yeah,
The
we got
Starfish
more.
aliens.
Angstrom Liv is going to be coming back, and he's now working with. They call themselves the Technicians.
Yeah.
So that's a new villain.
Damien Darkblood returns.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
and I think is going to be trying to like, basically like sell Mark's soul. Or
Like
yeah,
summon Mark to hell.
yeah, summon Mark to hell.
Maybe I hope in that plot line they somehow revive Rudy to bring his soul back if he's in hell. I don't know.
Yeah.
Battle
Yeah.
Beast is, we know he's alive and well after
Oh,
that
yeah.
one episode.
Yeah.
all right.
So
with that, anything else we want to say about Invincible season 3? Last minute.
I'm not mad at Cecil. I understand what he's doing.
Yeah. No.
Out of here. Out of here. Cancel.
Except for Conquest, I understand him taking the other mark. If I was a normal citizen in that
the
world,
Conquest erased all of that.
I'll tell you this: if I was a normal citizen in the Invincible world, I would be on Cecil's side. But if I was a superhero, I'd be on Mark's side.
What they are referring to is Mark kills Conquest. Well, like not 100% all the way.
Comic book death.
Basically,
yeah.
it's his face is split in half. And
Yeah.
completely caved in.
Not pretty.
And Cecil has the body. Who Cecil is the director of the GDA, Government Defense Agency, and Mark tells him burn the body, which needs to be done because if Mark and Eve both almost died defeating Conquest.
Yeah. They're the two most powerful superheroes in this universe.
And also, we got some great moments from Adam Eve, and we really got to see the full extent of her power for the first time. But instead of doing that, Cecil encases Conquest's body in cement because he wants Conquest to wake up so that he can ask him what's going on in the Viltrum Empire. Which I don't think he would give up that information. I think it is very likely that he could escape and become a problem again, and it is just way too big of a risk, especially because Mark and Cecil, all of season 3, were at ends with each other because of Cecil doing that, basically saving villains so that he could use them, and Mark thought that was wrong and that they should be imprisoned instead.
Basically giving him a second chance.
So yeah, it was Mark literally quit working for the GDA and has been solo and threatened and strangled Cecil multiple times throughout this. Yeah. They're finally on good terms again. If Mark finds out that he did this and saved Conquest, their relationship is going to be over. It's going to have serious repercussions.
If he wants to strangle Cecil for good this time, go ahead. Because this is ridiculous.
Donald can take over.
Donald. I love Donald.
Donald.
Donald for president, not that one.
Oh, all right. We're not going to get into that. I guess with that, we're going to end out here. This wraps up the Invincible Season 3 star nodes. So if you guys have any comments about Invincible Season 3, please leave them in the comments below and leave a like on this video if you did enjoy and you want to see more content. And also check out our website to see all of our other episodes this semester. But with that, thank you guys so much for taking your time to come here and talk about Invincible. And we will see you all next week. So bye-bye.
Bye.